Yep. Hey, it's Aaron from GameEnthus.com, and I spent some time checking out BitBoy Arcade on the 3DS. I was not familiar with the original BitBoy games from Bplus, but
gameplay session which may contain spoilers.
well, let's listen to them
Every
talk.
player wants to play in their own way. You may be in the mood to play through the story and save the world, including playing boss fights and such. But you may also want to see some random variation from the game. The quick run mode beams you right into any phase where you did not revive all the pixel flies, no matter if you have seen the level in the story mode yet. If you just want
I spent
to
most of
have
my
no
time with the
variation,
construct
and if you
mode,
feel
which is
that
sort of the
skill
story
good
mode.
enough, feel free to try out this mode.
This game is
Spoiler warning. If you did not
weird.
master the first 3 worlds, you might be heavily spoiled, so please be careful. If you know all the levels, then this mode helps you to randomly find the phases where you forgot to revive all the pixel flies. Once you have
There's a
seen
lot
most
of
the game,
dialogue, too.
this mode changes and randomly
lot of
chooses
explanation.
every random phase.
which you'll probably appreciate.
Welcome to the portal, Kubi.
And Kubi sounds, well, there you go.
No, Kubi, this is not really me. I quickly designed a pixel me, so you and I can interact without you always talking to them there. How do you like it?
It's okay. A little bit scary, but it will do it for
Because I was not familiar with the BitBoy games at all, because I think the original one came out on the, I guess DSi, eShop.
It's as simple as it can be.
I didn't expect
I'm
Kubi to
sure you'll
sound
find some of your pixel friends
like
there.
some sort of,
I love my pixel friends so much.
I don't know.
Want to see them.
Yeah. So, the game is from a top-down isometric kind of view. You can use the analog stick, nub, whatever, circle pad, excuse me,
Here are some Shadowmen for you,
to kind of
Kubi.
adjust the camera, but it doesn't stay.
Spiky black monsters.
It's just to sort of move things around to see
Careful.
things differently.
One hit and you are
So basically you want to go around and collect the pixel flies, those small little ticket-looking things in the ground. And those, collecting those enables you to
so all they can do
open
is
up
turn
new
right
areas,
and
new
then
levels.
turn right at every
The
possible
levels
turn.
usually
That
contain,
means you are
I
safe
don't know,
in the center of
10
square
to
layouts.
maybe
Yeah,
20 tops, different
If you
phases.
do anything but turn right, that makes them a piece of pixel cake.
Yes, the shadow character, shadow main character, pretty much can only turn right, which you can use to your advantage to get around them. There are exceptions though. If they hit a wall, sometimes they will turn left, so you have to be careful. And usually right there, some of the environments you can kind of duck away into. Now once you've gotten all the pixel friends, you start to glow, and you can you're invincible. Then you can walk around and destroy the rest of the enemies, regardless of what they are, and get a perfect. If you get, there's also a, you'll see later. I'll show you the UI for the bottom screen, which actually has your time limit and all the other things. But the pixel friends are integral to beating the levels. You have to get those in order to unlock the warp to get out of the level. If you don't play so well, you end up looking at this screen, and continues use your play coins. As you can see, I have 260 left over.
Yes,
Yeah,
Kubi.
it's a challenging game,
If you
very
want a
fun.
hint from me,
This is the bottom of the actual, this is the bottom screen. 16 is, I think 60, from 16 to 80 is normally how much time you have to beat a level. 5 means how many levels you have, 7 is how many pixel friends, and 20 is how many pixel flies. This is an array of options. You can change the 3D depth, camera position, you can mute the voice if you don't like it. I found it strangely charming, I don't know. I guess some of the back and forth was kind of cool. It was just very unexpected, especially the sound of the character's voice. And then the actual map screen, it took me a while to wrap my head around it, because I just didn't understand what it was. Like, to go to the next section, you have to go over to where it says next, but I didn't know that. The bosses kind of function in a similar fashion to the other levels, where there's actually 10 boss sections, and you have to go through all 10 to beat the boss. Many of them initially revolve around trying to get the pixel friends and escaping and not getting crushed, because the levels vary. I mean, they're all 10 different levels, but it gets pretty tough. You have to to get your timing right and kind of plan out your route. But you can destroy it, or at least part of it. And as you get down to the other sections, you'll actually defeat the boss sort of one-on-one this way, as you become like a rocket and blow the boss up. I wish I could have gotten more footage of that. I didn't realize you couldn't skip the phases just to go to the end parts of the boss. I'd have to replay it through that whole thing again. Not that it's not worth doing, just in the interest of time.
Hey, Kubi, you wanted a new kind of style? So here you are.
They are, huh?
Yeah, I know, but that is so unnatural.
You mean it's round?
Yeah, Kubi and Burned talk
hard and sharp edges.
throughout the entire game. The actual worlds have different themes. Like this is round. The first world was
Just
flat.
try out a few faces.
I think the second is
Maybe
Dark
you
World
will
or
get used to
something.
it.
But they're all different.
Okay, I will try. I really will. But one more thing. This music.
What's wrong with the Sweets melody?
Oh man, sweet lollipop and a sweet smell.
So this is still within the first world. But often the levels will have a layout, and the different phases will be a variation of that layout. But there's power-ups like this. You can turn into a bomb, a missile. There's jump platforms you'll see a little bit later. But the threat of the enemies is still there. One hit, you're done. And Burn does cry for some reason. You can also pick your phases if you've completed many of them. The icon to the left shows you if you've gotten all the pixel flies. So, I don't want to boil it down to saying, oh, it's like this game or like that game, but you are dodging enemies and getting power-ups. So the mechanics are fairly simple. It's just the challenge of understanding the patterns of how the enemies move and
Hey,
find the
Kubi,
most efficient way
new item blocks are ready.
to get all the items you need to get out of the level.
I made
There are
some trial
leaderboards.
sections in this phase, so you can find out what you can do with your new abilities.
Oh, I see. The level much bigger. I like it.
Remember, by rapidly pressing the buttons together with the corresponding direction on the plus control pad, you flash around the level much quicker.
I'll try that as soon as
The rockets are pretty cool. They only fly in one
Where you
direction.
land. Remember to be careful and to avoid the Shadow Man.
But as Rocket Kubi or Bomb Kubi, I can just blast them away, right?
And these are the jump
That's
pads,
right,
which
Kubi.
get you to
You
the
can
areas
use
you
the
can't
item
normally
blocks
go
as
to.
much as you want. The power for the item blocks is thanks to the golden pixel flies that you're rescuing.
Wonderful little pixel flies.
So I spent a good amount of hours with Big Boy Arcade. It is one of the most interesting games I think I played on my 3DS. If you're looking for something to play in your 3DS, I'd recommend it. It's a little different, especially when you first start hearing that voice. But I think there's a certain charm to it that would appeal to a lot of people looking for something familiar. I mean, you are gathering items, so if you think about it like like if it was influenced by a Pac-Man type of game, that appeal is there. But then there's something very different, like there's bosses, and it's not just one boss. There's 10 stages of the boss, and they all kind of they all vary a little bit. So, I think if you were 3DS and you're not engrossed in anything right now, you should definitely give Big Boy Arcade give it a spin, because Kubi says so.